They looked like us. They laughed, they loved, they buried their dead with flowers, but they also hunted mammoths until their knees gave out, drilled holes in each other's skulls without anesthesia, and may have eaten their enemies. Early humans were not gentle hunter-gatherers living in harmony with nature. They were the most terrifying predators the planet has ever produced, and the evidence is carved into bones, tools, and the fossil record they left behind. A human being is not the fastest animal. We have no claws, no fangs, no venom, but we have one superpower. We can run, not sprint, run, slowly, steadily, for hours. When other animals overheat, we sweat. When they pant, we breathe. When they collapse from exhaustion, we are still coming. Early humans used this to devastating effect. A group of hunters would find a large antelope or a wild horse at midday when the sun was hottest. They would jog toward it. The animal would sprint away, then stop to recover. The hunters would jog toward it again. The animal would sprint, the hunters would jog. Over and over for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, until the animal's muscles seized, its temperature spiked, and it simply lay down, helpless. Then the hunters walked up and killed it with a sharp rock. This is persistence hunting. It is slow, methodical, and utterly terrifying. The prey died not from a sudden blow, but from the relentless, inescapable approach of a predator that could not be outrun. Lions ambush, wolves coordinate, humans follow. They just keep following, and they never ever stop. Now imagine applying that same relentless, coordinated pressure to the largest animals that ever walked the earth. Mammoths, woolly rhinos, giant ground sloths, European hippos standing 6 feet at the shoulder. Early humans did not just hunt these creatures, they drove entire species to extinction. The evidence is chillingly consistent. Every time anatomically modern humans arrived on a new continent, the megafauna vanished within a few thousand years. In Australia, giant kangaroos and wombat-sized diprotodons disappeared. In the Americas, mammoths, mastodons, giant armadillos, and saber-toothed cats all went extinct within a narrow window, exactly coinciding with human arrival. These animals had survived ice ages and climate shifts. What they could not survive was us. Humans used fire to stampede herds off cliffs. They funneled mammoths into pits lined with sharpened stakes. They worked in coordinated teams, communicating with language, planning days in advance, and passing hunting knowledge down generations. A single mammoth could feed a band for weeks. Its bones became houses, its skin became clothes, its sinews became rope. When early humans found a resource, they consumed it completely. They were not conservationists. They were an extinction event with legs. If the hunting wasn't terrifying enough, consider what early humans did to each other. Trepanation, the cutting of a hole into a living person's skull, is one of the oldest known surgical procedures, practiced thousands of years before writing. The patient was awake. The tool was a sharpened flint or a crude bow drill. The goal was to release pressure, drive out evil spirits, or cure a headache. The patient bit down on wood or leather. The healer scraped and cut until a circle of bone came free. The skulls show that many patients survived. The bone healed around the edges of the wound. They went on living with holes in their heads. But the terror of the procedure itself, the unimaginable pain, the sound of stone grinding through bone while the patient screamed, that is a horror we can barely comprehend. Early humans performed amputations too. A crushed limb from a hunting accident could not be saved, so they cut it off with a flint blade and cauterized the wound with fire, without antibiotics, without sterile tools, without any knowledge of germs. Some lived, many did not, but the willingness to inflict that level of pain on another human in the hope of saving them is a testament to how brutal their world was, and how tough they had to be. And then, there is the darkest question of all. Did early humans eat each other? The evidence says yes. At sites across Europe, from Spain to France to Croatia, archaeologists have found human bones that were butchered, cracked open, and cooked. The cut marks on these bones are identical to those found on animal remains at the same sites. The marrow was extracted, the skulls were opened. This was not ritual, this was consumption. At Grandolina in Spain, the remains of at least 11 individuals, mostly children and adolescents, show clear signs of cannibalism dating back 800,000 years. The bones are mixed with animal bones, discarded in the same trash pits. Some researchers believe it was nutritional, a source of protein during lean times. Others suggest it was territorial, a way of destroying rival groups. In some cases, the evidence points to something even more unsettling: endocannibalism, the ritual eating of one's own dead. In other cases, it was exocannibalism, eating your enemies. The line between food and foe was thin. Early humans did not just bury their dead, sometimes they ate them. The sheer physical toughness of early humans is almost beyond modern comprehension. They walked out of Africa when the Sahara was a desert, crossed land bridges that no longer exist, and pushed into Ice Age Europe when glaciers covered half the continent. They survived the Toba supervolcano eruption 74,000 years ago, which plunged the planet into a volcanic winter and may have reduced the human population to just a few thousand breeding pairs. They survived plagues, famines, and the total collapse of their ecosystems. They gave birth without pain relief, healed compound fractures with nothing but rest and luck, and recovered from wounds that would kill a modern human without antibiotics. They were not fragile, they were nearly indestructible, and they passed that resilience down to us. We are the descendants of the ones who survived the worst the planet could throw at them. The early humans we like to imagine, gentle, wise, living in balance, were one small part of the picture. The rest of the picture is far more unsettling. They were endurance hunters who ran their prey to death. They were megafauna killers who wiped out entire ecosystems. They were surgeons who drilled into skulls without anesthesia. They may have been cannibals, and they were survivors so tough that the modern world is built entirely on their bones. Next time you look in a mirror, remember, you're looking at the face of the most terrifying predator the world has ever seen.